I am Emily. My husband's name, whom I've been married to for 3 years, is Tom. We built our own home shortly after getting married. We lived together with Tom's mother. My mother-in-law was a single mother and raised Tom on her own. I initially disliked the idea of living with my strong-willed mother-in-law, but we decided to live together due to her dislike of living alone and Tom's strong wish to ease the burden on his mother, who raised him single-handedly. Living together was as terrible as I had imagined. Over time, my work hours became my only respite. It's my duty to shop and prepare dinner after work. My mother-in-law basically doesn't do any household chores.
I'm using the kitchen right now, so wait.
But I need to start preparing dinner soon.
I'll be done soon. Just wait.
All right, I understand.
Why, even though we live together, is there only one kitchen?
When I proposed a 2-family house, you declined it.
Did I? Maybe I was being considerate back then. If we went with a 2-family house, the cost would have been higher, right?
Maybe we should have installed a second kitchen after all.
I thought so too, but I held back for your sake. You should be grateful to my past self.
I see. I had assumed you declined the 2-family house because you didn't want to be alone.
That's not the case. I would have preferred a 2-family setup if possible.
Should we consider renovating now?
Fine, but I can't contribute financially.
If we decide on that, you'd have to contribute as well.
I'm retired now, have no intention to work, and I've spent most of my savings on Tom since I raised him as a single mother. So I can't afford it.
But we've been covering all the house loans and utility bills. If you want a 2-family setup, we'd need some financial help.
I don't have the money. I've already spent a lot on Tom. He works at a good company now, so he should repay me more than I've spent on him.
Then we'll have to continue cooperating and getting along.
Why do I have to be directed by you? If you earned more, we could renovate as much as we want.
I'm not bossing you around, and I don't think my salary will increase any further. So, don't expect too much from me.
Tom earns so well, but because he married someone with low income like you, he can't live a wealthy life.
What are you trying to say?
Sometimes I think it would have been better if Tom married someone better.
I see.
You're only able to live this life thanks to my son, whom I raised with care. Don't get ahead of yourself.
I do work as well, you know.
Your earnings are just a fraction of what they could be. You should be more grateful to my high-earning son.
I am grateful, but...
But what? You're living off the money my son earns, so don't complain.
That might be true, but I earn a decent amount myself.
Annoying, annoying, so annoying.
Huh, why are you so angry?
If you were a higher earner, I wouldn't have to put up with these frustrating days. It irritates me just thinking about it.
It's not very constructive to blame me for that now.
Why do I even have to live with you every day?
Tom is on a business trip. It can't be helped.
He's hardly been home in these past 3 years.
That's the nature of his job now.
He didn't go on business trips before you got married. Why did this change?
He changed jobs.
But it's the same line of work, isn't it? Does the compensation differ that much?
It seems to be a company with frequent trips.
I would have been better off living alone.
If you dislike living with me so much, Why don't you live alone?
Will you pay for my living expenses if I do? If so, maybe I will.
Why don't you ask Tom?
Tom would surely want to live with me.
That might be the case. When he returns this weekend, I'll discuss it with him.
Tom doesn't come home on weekdays due to his business trips. Because of this, in the house we built, it's like living with just the two of us. My mother-in-law and me. Although I feel some dissatisfaction, I try my best to avoid conflicts. It seems my mother-in-law also dislikes living with me. We decided to discuss it on the day Tom returns. Because a conversation among the three of us might not be productive, I spoke to Tom first.
Your mother doesn't seem to like living with just me.
Why?
She doesn't like you being away on business trips.
Even if she says that, it's my job, you know.
She said she'd rather live alone than live with just me.
What? Maybe it's your fault for making her say that.
Why is it my fault?
If you got along well, she wouldn't say such things. You're probably giving her some attitude, right?
That's not true. I cook proper meals and do all the housework.
That's what you're supposed to do, right?
What's that supposed to mean?
My mom struggled to raise me. I just want her to have some comfort now.
That's why I'm doing everything I can for her.
Doing for her. Housework is your job, isn't it?
What's with that attitude?
Just get along better with my mom, will you?
I am doing my best. But if we're causing stress for each other, maybe it's better if she lives on her own.
That'd be a waste of money, wouldn't it?
Well, maybe. We should have built a two-family house then.
We don't have the money for renovations now.
If only you would fix your spending habits.
Why is it being made out to be my fault?
Since you get an allowance for business trips, why don't you use it for living expenses instead of wasting it on gambling? Then we could afford renovations, right?
I don't want to do that. Gambling is my only pleasure during business trips.
So what are we, who are stressed out, supposed to do?
You just need to put in more effort to get along like a real mother and child.
It's not that easy to build a relationship like a real mother and child with an in-law, you know.
Talk after you've tried harder, LOL.
What's that supposed to mean?
I'll ask my mom to be a bit more patient.
Patient? It sounds like you're making it out as if only I'm in the wrong.
This is just too annoying. You have two jobs, to get along with my mom and to handle all the housework. I'm counting on you while I'm away.
It seems Tom spoke with his mother, and she decided to give up on living alone. However, after this discussion, our situation deteriorated even further. One evening, we were having dinner, just the two of us as usual.
I don't want this because it tastes bad.
Again, you've been quite picky lately. What's going on?
Tom told me.
Told you what?
To try to get along better with you.
I see.
He said I can speak my mind and don't need to hold back.
Is that so?
He suggested that if I lived like you were my real daughter, I might not feel stressed. I've been eating things I didn't like just to endure, but I've decided to stop doing that.
So that's what it was about.
From that day on, the mother-in-law became more and more self-centered each day. My stress accumulated even more than before. Even when I consulted with Tom, he just told me I wasn't trying hard enough and didn't help at all. Finally, I reached my breaking point.
That reminds me. Did you clean the bathroom yesterday?
Yes, I did.
There was still dirt left.
This comment from the mother-in-law after a bath pushed my anger to its peak.
I'm honestly fed up with being nitpicked every single day.
Huh. Tom told me to treat you like my real daughter. That's why I'm doing this.
Real daughter? I don't recall becoming someone like your daughter.
What's with that tone?
Aren't you confusing me with a servant?
Well, come to think of it, you are pretty much like a servant.
I am not your servant.
Then why don't you leave?
Shouldn't that be my line?
Oh.
Despite not contributing to the household expenses, you want to kick me out?
Of course. Tom is the head of this household.
I am Tom's wife, you know.
What are you saying? I am Tom's mother. Do you think the wife has a higher position?
It's not about positions or anything.
Then what are you trying to say? Do you think Tom would choose you?
I believe Tom will choose you since he cares about you so much.
Well, of course.
Are you really okay with me leaving?
What are you worried about? It's obviously going to be fine if you leave. In fact, it'll be a relief, haha.
I see. I thought you might struggle financially, but I guess you'll be fine.
Ho, why are you concerned about that? It's none of your business.
Understood.
Tom earns $70,000 a year. So we're more than okay, huh? Don't underestimate us.
I'm not underestimating. I'm just concerned.
There's no reason for you to be concerned about us. Really. Stop belittling us. Just get a divorce already.
All right. It seems there's no need to discuss it with Tom. I'll pack my things and leave right away.
Haha. Finally. The nuisance will be gone.
A few days later, I left without saying a word to Tom. Consulting Tom, who dearly loves his mother, would only frame me as the villain. As if to prove that, I received no messages from Tom, likely having returned from a business trip. I then decided on divorce and arranged to meet Tom alone.
I told you so many times to get along with my mom, and yet you're fighting. What's that about?
So, as expected, you're just siding with your mother and it's all my fault, huh?
What? You're trying to say my mom's been harassing you?
Enough. We've decided to divorce, so there's no need to fight about this here.
Wait, you're planning on divorcing me?
Yes. Did you think we weren't going to?
I mean, it's not like we don't get along.
I can't live with such a mother-in-law in the future. Plus, you're clearly a mama's boy and won't support me.
I'm not a mama's boy.
You're nothing but a mama's boy.
Really?
Your mother is clearly all about you, and you the same for her. Perfect for each other, right?
Hey, you're making fun, aren't you?
Wishing you happiness forever.
I got him to sign the divorce papers, and we went our separate ways. The house, which was in Tom's name and on a mortgage, became his. Just a month after our divorce, I got a message from Tom. He said he wanted to talk about something, including with his mother. Reluctantly, I agreed to meet.
Excuse me. What's going on here?
Why the sudden outburst?
Don't play dumb with me.
Yes,
We can't make ends meet with just Tom's earnings.
that figures.
What do you mean by that?
I've been paying living expenses from my income too.
His take-home pay is less than expected, and he doesn't even make $70,000 annually.
Mother-in-law, it seems you were mistaken.
About what?
The one with an annual income of $70,000 is me.
Oh, then what about Tom?
Before Tom changed his job, he had an annual salary of about $50,000, but it decreased significantly after he shifted.
I didn't know that.
It's not surprising you didn't know. Why would we specifically discuss that with you?
Still, His take-home pay is way too low.
That's because his salary is being deducted for his gambling debts.
What?
So, his take-home is very low, and I've been supplementing our expenses with my salary.
Why didn't you tell me this sooner?
No, I did. Remember when I mentioned we'd face financial difficulties? You just brushed it off saying it's none of your business.
Well, that is.
I just didn't mention it since you considered it none of your business. By the way, it seems he's gambling every day while on business trips. Tom has a gambling addiction, you know.
I managed to pay this month's gas, water, electricity, and other bills. But I can't from next month.
Is that so? That's stuff.
It's stuff, so come back.
What are you talking about?
Please come back and remarry.
That's a bit too convenient for you.
If you come back, I promise not to interfere or say unnecessary things. I'll even apologize for everything. Please.
It's impossible now.
Then Tom, who had been silent, joined the conversation.
I didn't know about the money issues either.
I figured.
I thought we were managing just with my salary.
That's not possible.
I realize I was wrong to always side with my mother. Can we start over?
I've been relieved since breaking up with a gambling addict, so there's absolutely no chance of remarrying.
What's with that tone?
Besides, I can't be with a mama's boy either.
Don't say that.
Both of you seem to get along so well. Why not just support each other and carry on?
Please.
Are we done here? If we are, I'd like to head out since it's my precious day off and I have other things to do.
Please come back. If not, I'll have to start working.
Please do your best to work and support Tom. Thank you.
I ignored the two pleading for me to remarry and went home. Although I had kept their contact information in case of emergencies, I decided to block their numbers and delete them now. I requested a transfer to a store near my parents' house and began living in an apartment nearby. Tom's house was about a 2-hour drive away, and given that Tom isn't fond of my father, he likely wouldn't come to this area in the future. Half a year later, as support from my previous store, I was stationed for a day at a store near Tom's house. Out of curiosity, I passed by his house and was greeted by a surprising sight. The house was up for sale. They probably couldn't keep up with the payments. While working that day, I spotted none other than my former mother-in-law. She noticed me and approached.
I finally got to see you.
What are you doing here?
I thought I might run into you if I worked at this store.
Surprisingly, my former mother-in-law was working at the supermarket right next to the mobile shop where I work.
Are you working?
Isn't it obvious when you look?
Did you choose to work here because you thought you might see me?
Yes. I hoped to see you and urge you to come back.
You're still on about that. I have absolutely no intention of returning.
Don't say that. We couldn't afford the house anymore and had to put it up for sale.
Is that so?
Now we're barely managing in a small apartment, just the two of us.
Well, isn't it nice that you get to live with your beloved son?
Don't mock me. And Tom has started working part-time. So there are many days he doesn't come home, and we hardly ever get to talk.
I see. Sounds tough for Tom too.
I never intended to work again. Yet here I am in this situation.
It sounds tough for you too, Har, but please keep supporting Tom.
I can't handle it anymore. Please, won't you consider remarrying him?
I've said it before, you're so persistent. It's just not going to happen, haha.
Please, don't say that.
I need to get back to work, so I don't have time to entertain pointless conversations.
It's not pointless.
To me, it is quite pointless, haha. I wish you and Tom a lifetime of happiness together.
Wait a minute.
The two of them, having sold their house, seem to be living in a small apartment now. To my knowledge, they have about 2 more years to repay their gambling debts, so they'll probably live a tight budgeted life until then. I hope they can cooperate and overcome this together. As for me, I work cheerfully and enjoyably every day. Since the divorce, various aspects of my life have been progressing smoothly. Good things keep happening, and I'm grateful to be dating a wonderful man now. I truly hope to find happiness this time around.